in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, this is Tom Waddle, worn out former Chicago Bears wide receiver, and you are listening to Greg Bragg's in the Stands.
Waited 636 days for that. Felt good to be back. Bears win. Let's go.
The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought?
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
There's great practice, everybody.
are ridiculous.
We're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets will go. Gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, sing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
And there they are. Out the tunnel they come. Missed the flyover. I kept hearing them circle. You could hear it almost on the video there, but I didn't think it was coming because normally they time it up where it comes right over as he hits the Brave at the end, and it was about 2 seconds after that. Completely missed it, so dropped the ball there. But the Bears didn't drop the ball today. They won 20-17 on the Lakefront. 636 days since the last regular season game at home with fans in the stands, and put chills down my back watching that video right there, seeing a full capacity crowd. It was such a great feeling. And yeah, it's a feel-good Sunday after getting that big W. Victory Monday coming tomorrow. Won my Bears Bucks for my boss. Me and my boss bet every week he takes the other team. I always take the Bears, so I get my $5 back from last week. Chubbs is 2-0 in his upset picks. I know he's really excited about that. We're excited for you as well, Chubbs, and we're excited for the Chicago Bears. And why? Well, we got to see a lot of this guy today. Justin Fields takes, the Lakefront by storm, obviously on some, tough circumstances. And our guys, Mike and Aaron, they were tailgating with me. How am I alive? Because that's what we do at Brags in the Stands. The fun don't stop. The coverage don't stop. And this is what we're going to do today. We're going to break down all the different videos and all the different content, the inside look from inside the stadium, and break down our reactions from those and talk about it with some little roundtable discussion with a couple of my good friends here. And, we'll try to keep it short and sweet. Obviously, Sunday Night Football is about a half hour away or so. So we'll try to, keep this as truncated as we can, but we got a lot of video to go through. So we'll try not to ramble too much. And obviously, I'll be the one doing the rambling, and my guys, Eric and Nick, will have to be the ones to hold me down so I don't do the rambling. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
You're already rambling, Greg.
Well, of course I am. Of course. That's what I do. Your jobs are to keep me on the tracks.
No, I think it was a good game. We took care of business. Take care of business. Justin Fields, yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, it was certainly exciting to see. I think we're all talking about how he's going to get in. And then all of a sudden, Andy Dalton pulls up lame, and there were fans. Nick was with me. There were fans in the stands that were actually rooting for that moment. And then when it happens, there's cheering, and it was a little tasteless. You don't do that. You may joke around about it, but when it actually happens, you don't joke like that right in the guy's face. That was shady, but at the same time, this is what we've all been talking about. When is Justin Fields going to get in and take the reins? And we knew this could be a possibility where Andy Dalton, who he obviously ran out of the pocket a few times, but he's not the most fleet of foot. So we thought this could be a possibility. A lot of Bears fans brought up the rolled ankle or whatever happened to him. It sounds like it's a knee. So Justin Fields gets his opportunity.
I think it's an ACL.
Well, it very well could be, and they didn't rule it out, which is what I thought. What I thought was interesting from the reports after the game is they think it's a knee, but they don't believe it to be an ACL. Well, that doesn't mean it's not an ACL. Until they do the test, they're not going to know. So
Yeah, there are two things that I would like to add to this. So first of all, ironically, Andy Dalton actually got injured on run outside the pocket where he went out of bounds and walked gingerly after that. So the not mobile quarterback went out of the pocket and injured himself that way, and not by standing in the pocket and getting hit. On the other side, I just saw the tweet from Dr. Chow, who analyzes injury videos on Twitter, and he said he fears that it is an ACL injury. He then walked it back a little bit with he only saw this clip after the Bears said that they think it's not an ACL, but as long as it's not officially ruled out through MRI, I think it's definitely still a possibility.
Yeah, and you know, he was able to play.
Chow normally knows, like he knows his stuff. He can tell.
Yeah, he is often very on point with his predictions from the videos.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to find out. And if that's the case, well, then that takes out the thinking that Matt Nagy will have to do, because obviously we saw at one point it was he throws a pick at the end of the game that brings the Bengals back into it. So then you're thinking, well, is he ready? Obviously I don't really care. He's going to make mistakes. Guys make mistakes. Kyler Murray threw a few picks today. So that's going to happen. The Cardinals ended up winning off a missed field goal by the Vikings, or else Kyler Murray's interceptions are what cost them the game. Guys are going to throw interceptions. That's just going to happen. I'm willing to live with the mistakes of Justin Fields so he can learn from those and understand what he can and can't do. So it'll be interesting to see. Before we get into the videos, I do want to address, we do have a new listener to the show, Shy Strong, says we say we around here. I mean, if you have an issue with that, take it to another show, because we wear our heart on our sleeves for this team.
Greg, we're on the team. Yeah.
That's right. We are on the team. We're basically on the field, right? Nick got the full Braggs experience for the second time. He did it with me in London, and owners come and go. Yeah, that's right. The Cubs have changed owners. Players come and go. Coaches come and go. But guess what? Fans will always be there. So we say we around here all day long. That's right, Steven. We say we, and if you got issue with that, you can go kick it down the road. Shy Strong. So anyway, hey, it's all good. I understand. You have a gripe with that, get over it. So let's get into this. Like I said, Sunday Night Football is right around the corner. We got the Chiefs versus the Ravens. Johnny B's Chiefs, going strong. So he's going to be kicking it, relaxing tonight. So let's get right into it. And I want to give you guys a little taste of what happens here on Braggs and Sands. We give you the inside look. We give you that energy that you feel in the stadium. And there was no better way to exemplify that than with this video. There it is. Out the tunnel they come. Nick, you've done this with me a couple times. Erica hasn't had the pleasure yet to go to a Bears game with me, but that's kind of part of what I do, is try to get down by the tunnel. We always are gracious enough to have good tickets and be able to get down there and get good vantage points. But, when you see players running out the tunnel, you're a Bears fan from Germany. You don't get to go to games maybe as much as someone like me or people that live in the Chicagoland area. How does that feel for you as someone that's been lifelong? I don't want to say lifelong, because I know you just became a football fan over the last 10 years, but how does that make you feel being able to see that live and in person, and that energy that you feel from the Soldier Field crowd?
Yeah, it's definitely a special experience. In London, we just walked around the whole stadium pretty much to get next to the tunnel. This time it was a little bit easier to get down there. But it's just awesome to see the players running out of the tunnel, being so close to them, basically almost being able to high-five them if COVID restrictions would allow for it. And it's an awesome feeling. It just gets you ready for the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I call it, there's a couple spots I call the tunnel of love, where you're outside the stadium where you do the chants and then the tunnel of love when they come running out the tunnel and you show them love, you show them hype. It's exciting stuff. And that's what it's all about here at Brags Stands, giving you a bird's eye view to what the fans get to see and enjoy that. What you got, Eric?
Greg, it's kind of crazy, like how big these human beings are.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not joking. I mean, I ran into Big Steve Edwards, a former Chicago Bear, around halftime, and me and him were talking. I mean, look at how he just monsters over me. It's just the monsters of the Midway, no pun intended. So yes, they are superhuman without question. So let's get right into the plays of the game. And of course, before the Andy Dalton injury, which we've already talked a little bit about, Andy Dalton was playing some pretty good football, a bounce back effort from what we saw last Sunday against the Rams and, running for first downs and making nice passes, making the nice reads. He was able to get a pass interference penalty to extend a drive. And then this happened right here. There it was, A-Rob with the first touchdown to break it open at 7-0. First drive of the game, and we talked about this. I really felt like a lot of fans felt like they were going to get booed mercilessly, if they didn't have some kind of positive energy to start the game. If they went 3 and out, or if they were down, gave up a touchdown first, you're going to hear the boo birds. Well, they flipped the script. Andy Dalton throws a touchdown on the first series of the game against his former team, and the house is rocking. What were your guys' thoughts? Eric, I'll start with you. When you were watching it, were you impressed by the way Andy Dalton started the game?
I mean, yeah, I love to see him throw a touchdown. I like that drive, but it was kind of like I was looking at it like we're just prolonging the Andy Dalton thing, and the Andy Dalton thing had to end. It had to end.
You're not even willing to give him a little love here. It
was a great drive. It was fine. It was fine.
It was. I mean, that's their job, right? After last week's pitiful performance, the bar is very low for what we are impressed by as Chicago Bears fans. But at the same time, as badly as they played, just to see them, get some offense going downfield, throwing some, like we didn't throw a pass over 15 yards last week. So just to get any kind of passing game going was refreshing. Nick, when you saw that, did you feel like Andy Dalton was primed to have a big day at that moment?
I wouldn't say a big day, but I was definitely happy with how the opening drive went, and the touchdown was a good play. Great start to the game. I was feeling more optimistic after the first drive than I was before the game, so that definitely helped. And especially when you consider that the Bengals played a great game in Week 1 against the Vikings, played them very close. And Kirk Cousins didn't always look great in that game. So I feel like Andy Dalton pretty much did what he was brought here to do in that first drive, in navigating the offense competently and scoring a touchdown. That the Dalton experience still had to end sooner than later. I think every Bears fan was on board with that already.
Well, you can see Chubbs is here in the chat as he's already bagging him. I'm just trying to show Andy a little love. He got the day started right. And yes, Bears fans ended up getting the best of both worlds. They got the win, and Fields got the majority of the snaps, which is what we've been beating our head against the wall about for the last month and a half, and it just happens out of happenstance or luck. or just injury, bad luck, I should say, not good luck if you're Andy Dalton, but if you're trying to see Justin Fields in there, however you want to phrase it. But to me, he did come out sharp, and I got to give him that credit.
No,
I do believe the Bears.
Greg,
he did come out sharp, and I do
all
believe
scripted plays. Those were all scripted plays for the first quarter.
Sure, yeah, no question about it. But I got to give credit where credit is due, and he made some nice plays. And no, they weren't getting it done, as Chubbs points out after that. But, that's how you want to start a game. And, hopefully next week, if it's Fields as a starter, they can prep and game plan for him and scheme for him, and they can get out to a similar start. So let's move on. Obviously no one's on board with
next week, not the starter.
What's that?
I said, hopefully next week he's not the starter.
No, I doubt he will be. So I'm saying Justin Fields, they can scheme and game plan and get the similar kind of start. So there was a play, before we get into the injury and then the transition to Justin Fields, there was one play I wanted to highlight of David Montgomery putting a Bengals player on skates. And here it is, guys. There it is, David Montgomery, shake and bake right there. Maybe didn't have as big a day on the ground as he'd probably want to, or as he did last week, but really showing his, it's just he's got some moves, and he looks quicker and faster, I feel like, than he has in years past. I know he's a workhorse, not just in the regular season, but a workout warrior in the off season. So, what are your guys' thoughts with David Montgomery and what he's bringing to the table? Because the Bears are going to have to, especially if Justin Fields is the starter for the rest of the season, as we all hope he is, they're going to have to lean on this guy heavily, to take some of the pressure off of Justin Fields. Nick, I'll start with you. What did you think of David Montgomery's shake and bake there, and what you've seen from him, not just today, but for the start of the season?
Yes, so that play in itself was obviously awesome. He showed his quickness there and got a pretty big first down. And just in general, he has had a great start to the season. He played awesome against the Rams defense, where everyone was touting to be the best defense in the league before the season started. And now he continued it against the defense, which is tough against the run, as you could see with Dalvin Cook last week. This week, Dalvin Cook went absolutely off against the Cardinals defense. And so I think you really have to value what Montgomery's doing so far. And he will be huge for Justin Fields' development. Just to have a back that can get those important yards is very valuable to a young quarterback.
100%. Hey, and I'm just saying in the chat, don't be ignoring Tal, okay? We love her. You're always more than welcome here. Trying to, burn through these comments and burn through the videos. We're having a conversation, but I don't want you to feel like you're being ignored. The only person we're ignoring here, of course, is Shy Strong, since he wants to talk all salty in the chat. No, I'm kidding. You're welcome here too. Nothing wrong with anybody. Everybody. Taco Grease. Sorry. What do you want me to do? Hey, you're gonna get your comments put up if I feel like it. I don't know what to tell you, but Eric, what are your thoughts here quickly with David Montgomery? What he's been able to bring to the table. Obviously, as we get to the end of the game, we'll show his prowess as to finish the game strong and seal the deal for the Bears. But what are your thoughts on him to start this season?
Well, first off, I just want to give a shout out to Taco Grease 84.
He's just messing around. He's a region guy too, Eric. You must know he's from Highland.
Montgomery looked incredible. He looked incredible today. Like there's no doubt about it. He was great.
Yep, I agree.
Him and Fields together are gonna work magic.
Yeah, I agree. And Diddy beat Quinn in the chat. The region is one of the greatest places in the world, and everybody that's from the region are some of the greatest people in the world. So get to know it. And I agree with Tal as we transition from the injury, which we're going to bring up here in a moment. But to her point here in the chat, when Justin came in, this is a thing that I harped on all preseason, all at training camp. If they had any intention to play Justin Fields this season, which you obviously did, he obviously played very well in the preseason and at training camp, anybody that got to see it, to not give him reps with the first team was I'm sorry, Taco, to not give him reps with the first team was silly and a mistake because he has to get some kind of chemistry with these guys for when you do throw him in to the shark pit. And he hasn't gotten. Now he's getting to learn this chemistry with the live bullets on the fly. You had opportunities in 3 preseason games to give him second team reps. Who's pulling up the comments beside me? I got to know this.
I am.
That's amazing. I didn't realize you had these capabilities.
It doesn't matter though. If you don't have any practice and you don't know who your guys are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. You got to have some continuity. I mean, it takes years for a quarterback and wide receivers and tight ends to develop that kind of chemistry. So to not give him even a small head start and expect him to do those kind of things on the fly as a first-year rookie quarterback, it's not fair to him. But at the same time, these are the cards he's dealt. Now he's going to have to figure it out, especially since they start him as the second-team quarterback, which as a lot of people have pointed out, if you felt like he wasn't ready to start, but you felt like he was ready enough to be the backup, that means at any moment's notice, he could become your starter. And we saw that happen today. And now he doesn't have any of these reps with these guys.
One play, Greg. One play. That's all
it takes. I mean, we've seen lots of quarterbacks today. Lots of quarterbacks today got hurt. How many
Get out of here.
Carson Wentz got hurt. Who else? There was a few others. Eric, you were at home watching these games. Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Tua, all got hurt today.
Yeah, Tua's a good one. We can go to that Buffalo game if we want.
Yeah, I completely. Yeah, you know me, I'm always down for a good time. But it's just not smart to not have given him the reps. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And that brings us to the injury. I highlighted some of the early moments in the game, but the biggest moment of the game. So there it is. You see Andy Dalton on the sidelines warming up, and as he's warming up, you kind of see him tug at his knee right there. And then he ends up going back out there and playing a series. He's trying to give it a go, and it obviously was too much of a hindrance for him to continue playing. But that little tug at the knee definitely had my ears perked up. And then sure enough, he heads to the locker room with about 3 or 4 minutes to play. And then Justin Fields gets the final series of the first half. When that happened, I just – all of a sudden now your mind is racing. Like, is he going to come back in the second half? How many reps is now Justin Fields now basically the starter? You don't know. He could be out for the year. When a guy heads to the locker room, it's never a good thing. It's just going to be interesting. As we alluded to earlier, it sounds like it is some sort of a knee issue. The severity of it, we don't know yet. But then there you go. Now in comes Justin Fields as the starter. And away we go. And this is some of the highlights we have fired up for you here. And we'll just get right into them. The first one is a misfire. Like we just said, timing and chemistry is everything. And that was on full display with this play. And there it is. That's a dime ball, ladies and gentlemen, just off the fingertips of Darnell Mooney. Eric, when you saw that, what was going through your head, and I'm sure it brought you out of your seat for just a second there.
Are you talking about the Mooney drop?
Yeah, just the ball placement of Justin Fields to Darnell Mooney, even though it's an incompletion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great throw. I mean, Fields is the guy. It was a great throw.
Just being able to put it, almost drop it in his bucket, slightly overthrown if we're going to be critical, fairly critical. But again, it's about timing and chemistry with your guys. He's trying to get it over the defender's head to where only the receiver can catch it. This is something these guys, I agree. It went off his hands. It went off his fingertips. I mean, just passed. So I'm trying to be fair. I'm not trying to throw Darnell Mooney on the bus. I thought he's played great here these first 2 weeks. But that's a chemistry thing. I mean, don't you agree, Nick? I mean, this is kind of what we've been alluding to.
Greg.
What?
It's a game of inches.
1,000%. What are your thoughts, Nick, before we move on?
Yeah, I agree. Mooney should catch that. I feel like if they had more snaps in preseason and training camp, he might have caught it. Because from what I heard, they pretty much didn't really practice together so far.
Not very much.
For me, that just showed throughout the game, because this was just the first of a couple, I feel like 3 or 4 instances where the timing was just off, or a receiver was kind of not even expecting the ball to come to that place where it did at the end. I think we'll get to that Allen Robinson play.
Yeah, we are going to get to the Allen Robinson trap. We got some people in the chat asking for it. Don't you worry, it's coming.
Yeah,
but Nick, do you think that them playing in the preseason would have helped?
Yes, I definitely think so,
right.
Because every quarterback throws the ball a little different. They have different arm strength, especially I feel like the difference between Andy Dalton's passes and Justin Fields' passes definitely will be felt for the receivers. Justin Fields' passes should have a little more sauce on it. And so I feel like just building that chemistry, knowing where the ball is going to be when, from perspective, from the wide receiver perspective, when you're running your route, where do you expect the ball to come into your hands? That slightly varies with.
Do you believe here in the chat is Matt Mahalski, a guy we tailgated with today at his BM5 RV in the Chicago Bears tailgating club? Matt and his dad Ken, they got inducted into the Tailgaters Hall of Fame that they do out there. They get a little coin, and they've been tailgating. His dad's been tailgating for like 40 years, and they're 2 of the nicest guys I know. Do you believe that Darnell could have dove for that ball, or is that asking too much, Nick?
I think he might have been able to do it, but for me, he just got to catch it without diving, to be honest. And I feel like if they practice together later in the season, he will make that grab.
Yeah, I agree. Darnell Mooney is the real deal. The more him and Justin Fields can get continuity together, the more Darnell Mooney is going to go off. I know A-Rob got the touchdown, but I kind of made a comment, and I was being serious about it. It's fantasy thought, and I know nobody cares about fantasy, but we were just talking in regards to Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney.
We don't care about fantasy.
Well, I'm just saying in regards to Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, it does pertain here, because I told our co-host and producer here at Braxton Stands, Jake, we call him Jake the Snake in our league. I told him I believe Darnell Mooney's going to have a bigger year fantasy-wise, and I know that don't mean shit, when it just all that matters is who your top dog is, but I do believe Darnell Mooney's going to put up bigger numbers. That's just my hot take for the year. Maybe I get proven wrong. Allen Robinson's already a touchdown ahead of him, but it was his only catch for most of that game, and they go to Darnell Mooney a lot, and he's going to get his downfield throws. Don't you worry as this continues down the road. So certainly will be interesting, but let's try to move this along. To me, the biggest play of the game, there was a couple. This one was certainly up there. And there it was, almost an extremely costly turnover by Justin Fields, fumbling the ball. The Bengals aren't able to recover it. Your heart skips a beat for a minute. And the way I captioned it was, almost a really bad mistake by the rookie on Twitter. But as Jake and a few other people pointed out, how about the effort by Justin Fields to get back up off the turf and make that second effort to get that football? They end up coming down the field and getting a field goal out of that. One of the biggest plays of the game, because that can flip an entire complexion of a game. Eric, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts as to the effort by Justin Fields? And I know you were saying you can't see the videos in your chat because maybe your computer sucks. I don't know. Yeah. But, we're showing it as you're talking. So what were your thoughts when Justin Fields, after you saw the replay of his second effort coming back to that football?
Yeah, I can't see the video, but I mean, it's fine. We got away with a mistake. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I think you might be underselling this a little bit because to me it's tremendous second effort. He's all the way on the ground. He's pinned down, as you can see in the video for the viewers watching. He's pinned down.
Okay, now I see it.
Two different, okay, you got your internet back and working. Two different defensive linemen on top of him, and he's still able to get back up and be the first to the football. Nick, what were your thoughts when, A, the fumble, but B, then the second effort, more importantly, on the Bears side of things?
Yeah, so about the fumble, I felt it wasn't even that big of a mistake. Obviously, you would like him to have both hands on the ball, but he was trying to get out of the collapsing pocket, and the guy came from behind. I feel like that's more on the O-line for letting pretty much everyone just go through instead of holding up. So I felt the fumble wasn't even like that big of a deal to me from a Justin Fields perspective. Obviously, it was a huge point in the game. If the Bengals recovered that, he can probably run in for a touchdown, and this whole thing goes way different than it did. And so the second effort from Justin to get to that ball, even though people are lying on top of him,
unbelievable,
and knocking it pretty much out of the Bengals players' hands and securing it for himself, that's just extraordinary. And I feel like not many quarterbacks would have put that effort in to recover that fumble.
That's right. And Big Dollar Dave,
that's the key, Nick.
Enjoying
that's a great
the German guy. Yeah, that's right.
Fields.
Nick's the German guy. I'm sorry, Eric, but we're goofing
Justin
off.
Fields recovering that ball. I mean, that's a great very undervalued point.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest plays of the game, and it just speaks to his tenacity to win. You hear his comments after the game about how he knows he's made for this and he's ready. And, I don't know, it's a huge mistake and he doesn't give up on the play. It can't be understated. Those kind of plays can swing a football game. You saw at the end where the Bears turned the football over and the Bengals turned it into 7 really quickly. That's kind of what happens in football. So for the Bears to be able to recover it and then continue downfield and get a touchdown get a field goal to just help, give them a little bit of a cushion. Obviously we want 7s, not 3s, but I know my guy Shy Loves Shy Strong is going to enjoy it because we're going to be saying we a lot on this show, ladies and gentlemen, and you're more than welcome to. And I encourage you, Shy Love, just let it out. Say we. We're in this together, all right? We've been tortured Bears fans since 1985. I was 2 months old when the Chicago Bears won their first Super Bowl. So, yeah, we're all in this together, okay? And you saw that today. The fans hadn't been in the stands in over a year, 356 days, 66 days, whatever I said. And, I know my guy Pat Black would say that the fans make a difference in the stands. The fans do make a difference. They feed off of that energy, the team that being. And so, yes, we are all in this together. And, yes, Matt, Nick had a great time. I didn't get him as drunk as I wanted to. But he had a great time. It's a great recovery. And, yeah, he can fumble the football. And something you did see with Justin Fields, and he's a rookie, so he's allowed to make these mistakes and learn on the fly, but he does hold on to the football a little longer. He's trying to let plays develop to hit the big play. A lot of rookies do that because they want they want to score touchdowns. That's what they're thinking. Big plays every time. They're trying to hit the home run on every play. I like that mentality. I don't have a problem when he makes mistakes. Learn from those mistakes. Learn what you can and can't do. And, he's going to have to learn to get the ball out a little quicker, make his reads a little faster. That's what the NFL is all about. But to me, the only way you learn those things is being on the football field with those live bullets. You can only learn so much in practice. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops over the next few weeks, if indeed Andy Dalton is out for an extended period of time, or if they just choose to stick with Justin Fields regardless. Kansas City on the board, no surprise there. They always seem to have the Ravens number, so we'll see how that plays out. And we're going to try to move this along so everybody can go enjoy their football game, including Eric and Nick. So let's get right into it. And this was one of the I was so obsessed with trying to capture Justin Fields' first touchdown at Soldier Field. Couldn't quite get it. Every time it felt like it was about to happen, he just falls short, and this was one of those moments. That's right. We are all in. Shy Love, Shy Strong. And Justin Fields almost got into the end zone there. Almost looked similar to the preseason touchdown where he was able to scramble out of the pocket and make a play. And that's kind of what he's able to do. And added dimension, even though Andy Dalton did show he had some wheels until he hurt his knee. Justin Fields is a whole different animal. The fastest quarterback the Bears have ever had. One of the fastest quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. And so, we were hoping he could sneak in, slide in for his first career touchdown, but couldn't quite get in there. And the Bears had to settle for 3 there. And, that's just how it goes. But, hey, like I said, to be able to recover the fumble, get down the field, and get an easy field goal for Santos, good job by Justin Fields, all around, extend the lead, which ended up helping get the big win. So let's just, I don't need to ask your thoughts on every single highlight. So we'll just move on to the next one here. And, again, trying to get that touchdown. That's in the south end zone, kind of around where my guy Pat Black resides. Then they moved to the other side of the field for the north end zone. And now that was almost a touchdown run. Now here's the almost touchdown pass. So fans are begging for flags there, but that was a clean play. Maybe a little too much juice, not enough, a little lob action. But at the end of the day, I'd have to watch the game on tape to know whether A-Rob could have came down with that or not. But it was just disappointing as a fan in the stands, wanting to see that moment, see the team get fired up for Justin Fields' first career touchdown, and they just couldn't quite get it in. And that's when they ultimately settled for the field goal. But then the biggest play of the game, and we've been hurt when people in the chat have been asking for it, the biggest play of the game then happens. And it's not on the offensive side of the ball. Just a great moment. House was rocking. As a Bears fan that lives and breathes going to the games, that's what you live for, is those kind of moments. And it's normally the defense that gets the house rocking at Soldier Field. It has been that way for more than 2 decades, at least as long as I've been alive and well before that. And so, Nick, you were there, as Roquan makes the move and gets around the defender, Urlacher-esque, as you pointed out, running right towards us. What were some of the feelings you had as you watched that whole thing unfold?
Yeah, I think this moment really showed what made this game turn out the way it did, and that was the defense. We have been highlighting the offense in our post-game a lot, but last night when we predicted the scores, there were a lot more higher score predictions on the Bengals side.
Yeah, the over-under was set at like 42 or 45 points. It didn't even come close. 37 ended up. So I guess it did end up backdooring close to it. But you're right. On our last show last night, none of us thought it would be the defensive standout that we saw today.
Exactly. And I think the defense really had something to make up for after the week 1 loss against the Rams. And they did. Eddie Jackson got a nice forced fumble. And here Roquan Smith showed why he's one of the best linebackers in the game. And that return was just really awesome. If you listen closely in the video, you can hear me going, go, go, go. And that was just a really awesome moment. The whole stadium was just rocking at that point. And that definitely was great to experience.
Now, Eric, you're a great fantasy manager. I think you could be a great general manager for a football team. That say that tongue in cheek, but you are a snake in our fantasy league. Would you give
If only I made
Roquan's-
Ryan Pace money, Greg?
Yeah, would you? Oh, hey, maybe you could do a better job than Ryan. Although, hey, he's my guy, so I can't hate on him too much. He appreciates what we do here at Brags and Stands. He told me as such at camp. But if you were Ryan Pace, are you giving Roquan Smith big dollars and making him the highest paid, middle linebacker in the NFL?
Yes, I mean 100%. Yeah, you give Roquan whatever he wants to get paid. He's the best defender on this team.
Yeah, shades of Brian Urlacher, honestly, with the speed, the sideline to sideline, coverage that he can go downfield with running backs. Yeah. He's got the whole thing. And then you see him putting the jukes on. They said, Madden, I know, was giving him a shout out on Twitter saying they're going to up his ratings. Make sure you up that juke status too, because he shook that, defender, but offensive guy as the ball gets turned over. He shook him out of his cleats just like David Montgomery did in the first half. But Roquan Smith, they haven't gotten all their first round picks right, Ryan Pace, but he got that one right with Roquan Smith. And, they've had so much bad luck at times, Aaron Donald falling one pick short. Obviously the mistake of drafting Mitchell Trubisky is all on the Bears, not from another team drafting better players ahead. But Roquan Smith fell right into their laps just the way that draft unfolded, and he's been everything we have hoped for here in Chicago. And, as the show goes along, Shy Love, Shy Strong is really starting to, come around to our side of the thing. We might even get him to say B before the end of the show.
You give Roquan max contract.
Okay. Well, you got muted there for a second, Eric. So maybe give me a testing here. Are you good? All right, we can hear you now. You got quiet there for a second. I get scared. I'll start rambling. Don't make me start rambling now.
It's my internet.
That was the big play, and then all of a sudden it was waterfalls. Joe Burrow makes a big play, and then all of a sudden the whole defense, it gets contagious, and that's kind of what it's like in football. One guy makes a big play, then you start to see it again and again. Didn't get the play itself, but you got to see the celebration here. You love to see that defensive swagger. I know they were trying to throw a taunting penalty. We saw too many taunting penalty calls. If you guys want to touch on that at any point, feel free, because it's pissing me off, and I know it's pissing the rest of the league and fans off. But, what made the 2018 Bears special, and a lot of these players from that defense are still here, they just had that swagger. And right there from the Roquan Smith turnover, and then Jalen Johnson gets an interception, jumping the route. Jalen Johnson looks like he's ready to take the next step here in his second year. You just start to see that camaraderie and that swagger that this defense is known to have, and it was refreshing because, like Nick pointed out last night, we were thinking Bengals are going to drop 27-30 on us, and Chubbs was telling us how stupid we all were. We should have listened to Chubbs, but it's just so hard, damn it. And, there's Jalen Johnson picking the route off, and the celebration is on. What did you guys think of the secondary today? I'll start with you, Eric, because they got shredded last week against the Rams, and they really held their own today. Duke Shelley was active last week. He was inactive. There's a lot going on when you're at the game, so maybe you were able to see more of what the DBs were doing on TV, because I'm not going to sit here and say, I've ran through it all. But just from the eye test, it seemed like until the end of the game, Jalen Johnson, Duke Shelley, Kendall Vildor had to have held their own. I know the pass rush was getting home, but obviously the secondary was doing their job because they had 3 points for most of the game.
I got to toss it to Nick. I got to figure out my internet thing here.
Feel free to figure out the internet. I'll put you backstage. Just do a waving sign when you're ready. Okay, buddy? We got you. No problem here. But Nick, we were both at the game, so there's a lot going on. Obviously, you were more stationary than I was. I'm always all over the place when I'm at the games. The mayor of Soldier Field, so to speak. But, what was your thoughts on the DB's bounce back effort, the defensive backs, the safeties, doing their thing today and helping, hold the Bengals down for as long as they did before the fourth quarter turnaround?
Yeah, so I think at first you have to say the Bears secondary held their own for most of the game, which is way more than I expected before this game played out. At the end of the day, you still saw with Duke Shelley and Kindle Vildor losing it in coverage at the end there with the 2 touchdowns the Bengals scored within 1 minute. But before that, the secondary definitely made up for last week. And to go back to the stationary thing, I stayed at our seats. But at the end of the day, it worked out pretty well for me because all the action was coming to me pretty much.
Yeah. I'm chasing that Justin Fields moment, and it started going to the south end zone where, I'm not going to give away his section, but where one Pat Bleck resides. And, he's saying in the chat, act like you've been there before as far as the defenders, the defensive unit, doing their, typical, and every team does it. So the Bears aren't an exception here, but they, want to show off some swagger after they make a big play. I have no problem with it. The no fun league and Pat Bleck wants you to just hand the ball to the ref like Walter used to do and head to the sidelines. But, I apologize, Pat. I promise I'm coming over to your seats. Don't you worry. Just today was, it was a crazy day. It was a crazy day. So I apologize. But do you agree with Pat, because they almost got not a taunting penalty. What was the penalty they described?
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe going a bit too far with their antics in the end zone. Did you feel that way, or were you just enjoying seeing how much fun they were having out there?
I am absolutely in favor of all celebrations and feel like that penalty should probably not be a thing. It was ridiculous. The game was
so over. They did pick up the penalty, so they obviously agreed with you.
This one they picked up, but at the beginning of the game, there were 2 so soft taunting penalties. One against the Bengals and one against the Bears, which both extended drives that shouldn't have been extended because it was just no big deal. There wasn't no real taunting. It was minimal celebration with an opponent in the area, and that was enough to warrant the flag and a 15-yard penalty, and that's just ridiculous. They should get rid of that new enforcement of the taunting rule very quickly.
Do you think they will? Because you're seeing a large outcry, and it's pretty much unanimous. Eric, do you, I don't know how your internet's doing, if you can hear us loud and clear, but do you believe this taunting penalty is going to continue throughout the season, or is this one of those ideas they're going to scrap maybe midway through so it doesn't ruin somebody's playoff chances or even something that happens within the playoffs?
It's going to cost. It's going to cost somebody a game.
Your internet.
Yeah, I think
maybe log completely out and come back in, turn your Wi-Fi on, and then jump back into the stream and see how you do that way, Eric. But your internet's dying on us, bro. So, but we appreciate your insight. So make sure you come back in. Just completely log out, or not. How you doing over here?
It's the damn Comcast. The Comcast.
Comcast, step up your game. AT&T over here. Shout out AT&T. DirecTV is giving me hell, and I'm going to give them a freaking shout out here on this show. My DirecTV has been lagging for 3 weeks now. They come over to my house, they fix my box, and it still is messed up, the Wi-Fi signal, because they're all wireless boxes. It's something is happening where it continues to lag, and I'll tell you what, DirecTV, you're getting a strongly worded phone call tomorrow from one Gregory Braggs Jr., so get ready for that. And maybe Eric will be calling.
Sure they're gonna love that call, Greg.
They're gonna love that call. So here's the play that a lot of people have been asking for. Taco Grease. I don't know what you're doing, Eric, with your camera, but Taco Grease is making a nice joke for all of us here. 14-7, touchdown Chiefs. Who scored the touchdown? You watching it, Nick?
Yeah, Demarcus Robinson.
Marcus Robinson, one of my favorite players on the Kansas City Chiefs. Somebody I was hoping the Bears could pluck from them. Eric, can you hear us? Because your camera is no longer working. I'm going to put you backstage until you figure it out, brother. So moving on to the big play that a lot of people in the chat have been asking for, a big drop from Allen Robinson that could have been the moment. Hey, get in line, Shy Love. A lot of people can't stand me. My wife's at the front of that line. So here we go. The big play that everyone was dying for, a Justin Fields touchdown. Should have been, would have been, could have been, but A-Rob just wasn't ready for it. Man, tough one. I didn't, in my prep for this show, I didn't pull this play up on mute. So if I play it again, it's going to be with the sound, and I'd like to. But before I do, how about the ball placement there, Nick? Couldn't have been a better ball. You talk about his progression throughout the game, learning to not hold it on too long or what he's going to do, running or staying in the pocket. He put that ball on a dime right there.
Yeah, that was a beautiful throw, exactly where you should put it, where he did put it exactly where it belongs, and this has to be a touchdown. And I just went right through his hand, exactly, Chubbs. Just that was a straight up drop, and
he shit it out his ass. Oh my goodness, Chubbs.
And that shouldn't happen to Allen Robinson. He is too good for that to happen, especially because this would have been like another huge play for the Bears, and probably could have saved us some worries at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But another point, I still believe with more time, he will catch it. And it was more of a one-time play, dropping it. It shouldn't happen. Was a mistake by Allen Robinson. But at the end of the day, we still won, so I can look a little
and
bit
he had
more
a touchdown as
together.
well, so I don't know if I call it a wash, but I've seen a lot of Bears fans really harping.
Not a wash.
Not a wash, because you got to catch Justin Fields' first career touchdown, and I know he's dying. That he missed it, no question about it. But you're seeing a lot of Bears fans really, really drilling A-Rob and his agent, Brandon Parker, they're both very outspoken on Twitter, or at least have been in the past. The last game, I think I saw A-Rob's agent put 16 more games, and you're seeing a lot of fans going back at him. Only 15 more games now, Parker. But I like A-Rob personally, but he has had, he has stats where it says he hasn't had drops, of certain yardage downfield, but he has had some drops here in the last few years. And, it's easy in the last 2 years to chalk it up to inconsistent quarterback play. But now we got our baby boy Justin Fields in the house, and there's no excuses for dropping a play like that. And yes, it was beautiful ball placement. So it was so beautiful. Let's play it again, because this was, showing what Justin Fields can be for this team. And, I certainly can't wait to see this completion come through wherever it is. Just a killer right through the hands. Just an absolute killer right there. But wasn't meant to be, so the Bears settle for 3 there as our guy Trey Tunes joins the chat. I should have sent you a link earlier, but I didn't get a response. You guys ignored me in that group chat, and you just hurt my feelings, Trey. Your thoughts on hurting my feelings? Who are you? Who is this guy? Did you just bust this out on me? What in the heck? Trey Tunes joins the show. How we doing tonight, Trey? Big Bears win. How you feeling?
Feeling okay. Can't complain. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you great.
Check.
You're not having
all right.
the internet issues that Eric's having.
Oh, okay. Yeah. yeah. It's like as soon as I got into the room, you like threw me up on the screen like immediately.
Well, yeah, that's what we do here, baby. You gotta get your lower third on, get your nameplate up. We'll pull up the comments. Shy Love, Shy Strong's excited to see you. He's having trouble.
All right.
I have trouble spelling your name. Yeah.
Wow. Try Tria.
He's still Tria. Try it again. Shy Love, Shy Strong. Strike three, you're out.
Trey, the comment section is going nuts right now.
Well, there you go. Nobody wants to hear me talk, but Trey.
Trey Tunes is in the building.
That's right. Trey Tunes. That's right. The horn, I love that horn. You know that. But somebody that does know how to spell his name correctly is our guy, Pat Blood, because he's educated. He's probably the most educated civil person that hangs out on our shows. I'll stop talking. Trey, how did you feel about the Big Bears win today?
Oh, man. It was definitely feeling some highs and lows. You know, it's like you were excited about the defense. I thought Andy Dalton did okay. He was kind of winning me over in the beginning. I'm like, you know what? You know, you give him some good play calls, and he showed a lot of heart with the runs and everything. And when he got hurt, I was like, yay! I was like, wait. It's like I was kind of conflicted because I thought he was doing a good job. I'm like, all right, Andy out here doing his thing. Definitely looked like a real NFL quarterback, but we're not used to getting out there. Look better than Trubisky Foles ever looked.
And I gotta give him credit because I just assumed with his age and being the veteran pocket passing quarterback, he actually did have a little mobility until, of course, he pulled up lame and twisted his knee on the sideline. But he was getting out of the pocket and running away from defenders for first downs. Did that surprise you the way it did for me?
Yeah, it shocked me. Like I said, he was winning me over. I'm like, you know what? Dalton does look pretty decent out there. I was surprised. I didn't expect him to roll out the way he did, and he looked competent. And like the touchdown, the way, who was that? Mark Sanchez on the call. The way he saw A-Rob coming over and he still tried to, they zoomed in on his eyes. The way he tried to hold it off just long enough to complete that touchdown. There's little things like that you never saw Mitch do. He like, A-Rob. He's staring him down from the, he's saying hike and then look at him immediately and then like lock eyes with him the whole time. It's like, dude, there you go. Yeah. Bragg's right on.
There's the look off. Just as you mentioned, he looks left, bang, right down the pipe for Allen Robinson. Really nice play.
Exactly.
Well articulated there. Trey definitely was looking off his receiver well. He was surprising me, even though Chubbs won't give him credit, and Nick and Eric have already moved on. The poor guy gets injured, and we can't even throw him a little love. Nick, your camera's a little fuzzy. Maybe clean up your give your camera a little wipe. Maybe it's got a smudge on it or something. But either way, you're fine. It's not as bad as Eric's internet, so you're good. I do need to drink some water. You're absolutely right about that. I'm very parched. How do I say it? Did I say that?
Parched.
I'm parched. I drank a lot of alcohol in the morning, as some of you saw in the Twitter pictures we put out there from the Collector's Cave down in that bottle of Jack. But I didn't drink once we got into the game. Nick's my witness as Trey goes to take his patented poop.
What is it?
Well, your camera turned off, or is it
my camera turned off?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
I must have unplugged it by accident.
You're a pulsating circle right now. So maybe
I've been called.
Eric
called worse.
Eric's having internet issues. Nick's camera's fuzzy.
I'm here.
And now Trey's doesn't even have a camera. So you guys are stuck with me.
You can hear me though?
We can hear you, Trey. We just can't see you.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Get that fixed.
go.
You're good. Take your time. So we'll move on to the next play here as Trey gets his camera fixed, because I know nobody in the chat wants to be just stuck with me with good internet for once. So here was the waterfalls of turnovers. Jalen Johnson gets a pick, Roquan Smith gets a pick, and then the defensive line comes down with an interception. Correct, Nick? Who was the one that came down with the defensive line? My head was spinning at this point.
I'm not sure who
was it, Eric?
You're asking the wrong person.
Come on, guys. What are we doing here? I'm getting the video.
Was it Blackson?
Yeah,
because I think it was number 90.
Blackson, did he come down with it?
I think it was number 90, but
Somebody
I'm
in the
not
chat
100%
help
sure.
us out. Somebody in the chat help us
They
out.
said it's
Yeah,
number
it was
90?
Angelo Blackston coming down with it. I'm sorry, guys. There was so much happening at this
Chubb
point.
says Blackston.
Yeah, so and this was the reaction to that play because me and Nick were at this point just enjoying the easy Bears win, or so we thought. There it was, as everybody helps us out. Another interception by Honey Badger. He had a pick six, and then, then he gets that. So, Taco Grease, we're going to wrap this show here as we get to the home stretch, but you're welcome on a future show anytime. Not that you're not welcome tonight, but, we want to get to our Sunday Night Football. Me and Nick got steaks to eat, living large over here at the Braggs residence. So I don't want to – I'm already rambling enough. We start bringing in more heads. I know Trey's getting his internet fixed. He'll be back in here to get his final thoughts as we get to the end of this. And, we're winding down the home stretch as we promised. We try to keep it short and sweet, as Trey has got his beautiful camera and his beautiful smile and loving personality live and in color here for Braggs in the Stands. Trey Tunes crossover.
Hey, Greg, what's the steak play tonight?
Well, I'm always eating sirloin. That's what I do.
Come on, man.
Yeah, well, you got to. When I'm trying to stick to the diet as best I can, as Nick saw today. It's easier said than done, but
that's a new house. That's a new house thing.
I got to do it. If I had to choose, I love ribeye is my favorite steak, but on the diet, you got to eat sirloin because there's less fat content in the sirloin. So that's what we're doing.
Never mind. We'll talk to you next time.
Nick is a steak obsessive. Nick is a steak obsessive as well. He's going to school here in the United States. He's from Germany, but he's going to school here, and he made me promise that we'd eat good. And I always eat good, so he didn't have to worry about that. But made me promise that we eat good, and he loves steak, and he eats fries with his steak. So we made sure to get that done for him here. But man, just to see the swagger of this defense. What was so fun about the 2018 team was some of the vintage touchdown celebrations, from interceptions and fumble recoveries. And what were Trey? What was your thoughts? I'll start with you since you just hopped on. How refreshing was it to see, the defense get their swagger back? Stella got her groove back, and this defense got their swagger back. How did that feel to see that?
It was definitely exciting. Like when we got the first pick, I'm like, all right, well, that was the pick six, right, with Roquan, right? Yeah, that was the first interception, first of the 3 straight pass attempts in a row, and it was crazy. So they go back out there, then Jalen Johnson jumps the route for the second pick, and then what was the defensive lineman that?
Angelo Blackson got the
Blackson.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was like, whoa. I mean, like you haven't felt that like adrenaline like since 2018, especially as far as the defense goes. It was definitely exciting. And man, it's like it's funny because it happened like after Justin Fields came into the game, and you wonder if that like sparked anything with the team. Because I know me and Will
Nick pointed this out as well at the game, so go ahead with your thought.
Right, yeah, it's like, just like, all right, Justin Fields is in, like, that like lights a fire on everybody. They get excited, just like we were. They're people too, they're just like way better at playing football, obviously. So it's like, they get excited, and they probably were like, yeah, let's get this kid the ball. And Roquan, he's just took it in himself, but it's like. They're playing better. Like they're more excited.
How surprised were you?
Energy.
As bad as they played last week, did you ever think that we'd see flashes of the 2018 defenses? This is one of the most dominating performances until they let them back in it at the end, which was contributed a lot by the offense as well, turning the ball over at the end. So I'm not going to put that completely on the defense to let them back into the game. But honestly, one of, and I agree there, Chubbs. I agree with Trey and Nick here. They were definitely motivated by Justin. Everybody, the house was energized when Justin Fields came back in. It was palpable. You could hear it. Even when Andy Dalton got hurt, fans were cheering. I mean, it's shitty to say, but there were, because people are that obsessed with Justin Fields getting the reins as starting quarterback. And obviously, you saw how excited a guy like Eddie Jackson and other defenders were when we drafted Justin Fields.
Right.
But man, how surprised were you, Trey, that after last week's pitiful performance, getting gashed, that we would see flashes of the 2018 defense and those waterfall turnovers and the celebrations and the lockdown defensive backs and the pass rush getting home? I mean, that's refreshing.
Right. See, last week, it was we played a lot of zone, and it was like the misreads in the zone. Like, okay, I'm going to let this person go by, and the other person's going to pick them up, and the other person's picking up somebody else. So that happens enough. All it takes is 1 or 2 times, which it did happen. It's like the defense, you give up 2 huge plays, like plus 50 yards each play. I think one play was 60-something yards. And like all it takes is that one little miscommunication where you think somebody else is covering, and that's what made them look so bad. And especially when you don't get pressure. You don't get pressure on the quarterback, and stuff like that can happen. And it can happen to anybody, to be honest with you. It just happened to us way too many times during that game. And the defense, it probably looked a lot worse than they actually were. But I wasn't going to defend them. I said, okay, show me what y'all can do now, because y'all can't be that bad. Y'all professional athletes. I know, but I do understand how you can look real bad by making like just simple mental errors, which can be fixed. So I was still hopeful that they could, produce some turnovers and stuff like that.
Well, they gave Duke Shelley an opportunity last week. He was inactive, and this week he was on the field playing nickel.
Oh, they went after him all day.
Well, they're going to challenge him and Marquis Christian when they're on the field, and Kendall Vildor still got a lot to prove. And Chubbs, and he's really, segueing exactly where I wanted to go. And Nick, really, mentioned on the way home how impressed he was with Eddie Jackson's performance. Chubbs is being a little hard on him here, making a terrible play.
All it takes is one play. Defensive back has got to be the hardest position in football to play. You see, he had a really good tackle on. That was a third down run. With Joe Dixon, and had a great backfield tackle. Then he had the forced fumble, but like I said, all it takes is one little critical error, and he runs into, who did he run into? Gibson, or was somebody else? Well, he ran into another defensive back. But I said at least they did make a tackle. Unfortunately, it was on each other. So maybe next week they'll tackle the opponent.
Well, Nick, what did you think? Expand maybe on your thoughts on.
Greg, I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna backtrack real quick. There was a different energy when Fields went into the game. There was a different energy in his team when Fields got in there.
I completely agree. And that's human nature, because we all want the kid in. Nick, to go back to Eddie Jackson, what were some of your expanded thoughts on how he did today? Bounce back effort from what he did against the Rams.
Yeah, 100% a bounce back effort. I think he made a great play when he forced the fumble. That's Eddie Jackson in 2018 play, which we haven't seen in some time. He also did tackle better than we have seen recently from him. So all in all, I think he made he played a good game. At the end, he looked a little bit unfortunate, I would say, at the touchdown from Jamar Chase, where he and Vildor pretty much tackled each other.
Yeah, as Trey just pointed out, yep.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, that was more on Vildor, who definitely just got beat by Jamar Chase. Eddie Jackson took a wrong route to tackle Chase, but at the end of the day, the biggest chunk of that play, biggest chunk of the blame for that play goes to Kendall Vildor. And so I wouldn't say it was a terrible play by Eddie Jackson. surely wasn't great, but overall, I am very happy with how he played.
Seems like he heard the chatters, because after the game
he did.
had
Mark
some
Brody
comments to
pointed
Mark
that out.
Brody
Yeah.
as he's running off like, y'all thought I was done, and obviously he has a lot of pride, but he was getting dragged through the Twitter streets. Now A-Rob's got his turn in the bucket. Bears Twitter can be real tough on players, and they let him have it. But Eddie Jackson responded to the outpouring of criticism, and he showed up today. So credit to him.
Some people would say bullying works.
Yeah, exactly. And Robert Quinn, you got to give him a shout out. He was getting home on the pass rush. It was just a great game.
I was like, who's number 94
Yeah,
out there? I was like, what? I was like, whoa, who's that guy? Didn't know he existed out there on the field. Didn't know we had anybody playing defensive end on that side. Man, but yeah. And then Khalil Mack with a few pressures this week at least. I know he did get the sack on that stunt that they ran, which was good. Because I understand getting pressure off the edges is a good thing, but getting pressure up the middle is vital. Because that's where you really get the quarterback off their square, and because there's nowhere to really go to. Once somebody's coming right at you and you kind of break down, and it's like, oh no, bam! And it's like a lot of bad. I think that's how the Bears, when they got that third interception, when they got pressure up the middle, it's like that's why I thought, getting Eddie Goldman back was so important. And unfortunately, he's been out the first couple of weeks, but we've still been able to get pressure up the middle this last game, which is a big thing because you see what it can produce.
And our poor guy that was on last night, Lucas Moore, diehard Bengals fan, thought the Bengals were going to slice and dice the Bears defense, with the three-headed monster of Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, but wasn't meant to be today. Bears showed up on the lakefront. Robert Quinn played a good game. Akeem Hicks comes across the field, and T. Higgins lays out T. Higgins. Nasty.
Oh.
And talk about effort. I mean, Akeem Hicks is a grizzled veteran, and a big boy who's been through his injury problems. His effort and his motor never stops. He comes all the way across the field to make a play and lays out T. Higgins. I mean, T. Higgins isn't getting tackled by defensive linemen all that often, and you see,
right?
And he met one Akeem Hicks, and that was not how I wanted to go. I had a Happy Gilmore gif where he's like, "You hit that guy." Shouldn't have been standing there.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you guys already talk about that unnecessary roughness call on
Robert Quinn?
On Robert Quinn, yeah, that was
bad play.
Oh my god!
You can't give the shoulder nudge. Just go off the field. You got off the field. Justin Fields gets to have 4 minutes on offense instead. You're nudging the guy. You can't do that. It's bad.
Right. That was horrible.
I mean, it was a flop.
But still, Robert Quinn, you gotta be smart right there. You gotta know that.
You have to be smarter than that.
Yeah, it's like he literally didn't even do this. It's like he was just running and like kind of coming to a stop. And then Burrow just ran into him. Just boom. I'm like, really? I'm like, come on, y'all gonna give him that? But it's like, at the same time, Robert Quinn, like you're out of bounds because you're slowing down yourself. Like just like act like you're trying to hold and catch him or something like that. You got to do that because what was those other two calls? This is going to destroy the game. I hope they change.
We were just talking about it before.
Oh my
Go right
god!
ahead if you want to talk about that.
Yeah,
he went for it too. Like that was he lowered his shoulder a little bit. Like
just.
Yeah, but Trey, to your point about the taunting penalties going across the league, it's really getting out of control.
Right. Yeah, with the clap, you can't let's go. I'm like, really? That's taunting? I mean, and then I think on both sides they were bad. The one that got called against us and that one that was in our favor, I'm like, that's a bad call. I said, you got to let that be part of the game. Like when you go as far as taunting, you got to be like all up in somebody's face, like it got to not clapping and just like yeah, We got, come on, man.
Well,
That's
Taco Grease is
crazy.
on his way out. You know, he might be going to work, but if you don't watch the end of the show later, Taco Grease, you're dead to me. No, I'm kidding. But we appreciate all the kind words here as we try to wrap this show up. We're getting to the final last few big plays to end this game. And, you know, obviously the fumble recovery was up there, but to me, you know, after Justin Fields turns the ball over, you know, and I didn't capture that on video where he throws the bad interception on third down and the Bengals turn it into 7. And now all of a sudden it's a 2017 game. I'm sitting next to Nick. It's 20-3. He was begging for a Bears win because he's never seen a Bears win in person. I go, well, Nick, 4.5 minutes left. Looks like you're about to get your wish. And literally,
1
they
minute
throw a
later.
touchdown bomb, and then Justin Fields throws a pick, and the game is up for grabs. And, you know, I put on Twitter, you know, there was a fan that yelled, "We want Dalton." I swear to God, like four people to the right of me and Nick. I mean, he said it a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I was just laughing in my head. I was like, well, how the turntables.
It was how the turntables have.
Yeah. But, you know, if you want to look at the silver lining of that meltdown at the end of the game and letting the Bengals get back into it, Justin Fields then had a test. And he's going to get many tests before he eventually wins us a Super Bowl. We say we, us here at Brags in the Stands. And when he does win us a Super Bowl, it's going to be because he passed all these tests. And so now it's 20-17. You just turned the ball over. It's a meltdown waiting to happen. If you lose the game, it is a knife to the heart to everyone. Justin Fields more than anybody, but Justin Fields steps up in a big way. And there it is. I apologize, Taco Grease. Next time you call, I will answer. Please do not be mad at me. But yes, the team, we won Shy Love Strong, and it was because of a play right here to help milk that clock. Trey, you know, we've all talked here, me, Nick, and Eric, and you guys can expand on your thoughts after Trey. But, you know, how impressed were you that Justin Fields was able to put that interception to the side and convert on third down, running for that first down?
Yeah, and I was saying this all along about Justin Fields, about him being a football player and being smart and learning from his mistakes immediately. It's like Justin Fields seems like the kind of person that, like, when he does make an error, it's like, okay, that's in my mental Rolodex, and I'm going to make sure. So it's like you're going to see all these growing pains, and then you're not going to see him walk over with his head down like, oh, man, I messed up. Hold on, I unplugged my headphone by accident.
No, you're good. We can still hear you. You're good.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, he's not going to make all those mistakes. Like, and then, like, if he does make an error, he's not going to be like, oh man, like, what do I do now? Am I good? You know, kind of like that Mitch look, like how he just walked over to look up at the replay, like. And, you know, you're not going to see that with him. Yep. And he's still going to play with the same confidence he had. And so that's why I'm like, okay, if you get him in, like, we're going to see the growing pains, but these are things he has to learn in order to be better. So just get him out there, because you can't learn this stuff in practice. You're going to have to get out there.
You're not going to get a test like that in front of the crowd. Everyone's on pins and needles. Buttholes are getting tight. You know, makes a big mistake, and he's able to step up. You see him breaking the tackle, and that just shows his will to win. Just like the fumble recovery, he wasn't going to let 91 get him down there.
Right? Did you see the effort
the high step?
Jesus Christ, to get that ball back. The effort, he was like crawling, like it was like his life depended on it.
That's money on the table time, man. That's what
total opposite of Cam Newton going after the fumble in the Super Bowl. It's like, this is how you recover a fumble, Cam. Like if you can go back, I know you can't just pull up coverage, like, you know, but everybody knows that, you know, Cam Newton famously didn't like dive after the football when he fumbled.
Right. That play.
Right, and then you see Justin Fields go after it like that to get it back, which was huge. Like, yeah, you fumbled, but don't just lay there and say, "Oh man, I fumbled," and then like go get the ball back, and that was huge. So you want to see stuff like things like that matter.
Fields at his worst is better than Andy Dalton at his best. Like that's
yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I agree, and it's and regardless whether the Bears make the playoffs or don't, I personally believe they can if Justin Fields starts more games than less. But regardless, this is all about him continuing to develop and getting to learn in those moments and pass those tough tests when the chips are stacked against you. And we've seen quarterbacks in the past get that deer in the headlights look, and the quicksand starts happening, and before you know it, the Bears blow a game they should have won. I can name 10 of them in the last 2 years, and instead the Bears get the W this time. Nick, what were your thoughts on Justin Fields getting that first down to almost clinch the game?
I think it did clinch the game.
No, the David Montgomery run.
Oh, right. Yeah,
but I mean, was
might as well. Yeah,
go ahead. But what were your thoughts, regardless, outside of that, Justin Fields being able to recover past the turnover?
Yeah, Justin Fields definitely showed the poise you wanted him to show after that turnover. He did rely on his legs here, which some critics might say, oh, no, he didn't do it through the air. He just ran. But at the end of the day, he got the result we needed to get there. And powering through that tackle definitely showed, again, that he's just a winner. And that's what you need as your franchise quarterback, a winner. And I was greatly encouraged by his overall performance today, even if the stat line doesn't really represent it as well as it should, maybe, due to some drops. But at the end of the day, I think this was a very good first start for Justin Fields, and I'm very excited.
Got the win, and the reason we got that win, as we just pointed out and alluded to, and then we'll wrap up with these last couple videos, and then let Eric get back to the game because he said he was going to jet. But you're wrapping up with us, Eric, whether you like it. There it was, David Montgomery.
He got a lot of effort on that. The second effort, man. He was just showing out all game, man. He's like talking about playing inspired football, and like every time, like I wonder what his yak was like for the game. It had to be almost as high as his rushing total because he was just going after it. I mean, yards after contact. So it's like he just wouldn't go down, and you love the effort, and then he looks quicker too. It's like I don't know what he did over the off.
About that earlier, he does look quicker.
Right, it's like because it's one thing to be fast, like and be able to run fast, but when you can like juke and kind of like what made Hester so great because his acceleration was like it's all these other things like you can just be fast, but like when you can accelerate fast and you can be quick and move off of your when you plant your foot and go, that makes a huge difference. And you see Montgomery he just looks like a new player. Like he wasn't bad before, but he looks better than ever now.
Yeah, check out this show. That's shake and bake right there, just as you pointed out. Yeah, put him on skates. And Montgomery's a bruiser running back, but he shows there he can be much more than that.
Right.
Yeah, he's built for this, as the kids would say.
That was a juke. That was a juke.
Nasty. And then to end the game, that's in the first half. And then, he can do it in between the tackles and get you're not going to get much yak when you're running through all that defensive line like that. But it's those hard yards that are going to win you the football game, and they needed that first down there, and David Montgomery seals the deal. And then that leads to Justin Fields' first ever victory formation at Soldier Field. There it is.
I'm glad they didn't call Marquise Goodwin for taunting with that backflip.
That's a good point. It was a nice backflip. We don't need to play it again. But yeah, nice backflip from Marquise Goodwin. Everybody's feeling good. Marquise Goodwin was very critical of Matt Nagy last week, but doing backflips to end this week. So what a difference a week makes in the NFL. Winning cures all. And Justin Fields certainly, getting as much playing time as he did today, hitting the over, well over the over that the points bet Rivers Casino put up for 11.5, and Danny Parkins, kind of was pushing them to put something on the line because last week you didn't even get any kind of Justin Fields action. But this week you could get a little dabble if you're into the gambling. And he went way over because that should have been an easy bet for a lot of people because beyond getting the snaps, if Andy Dalton never gets hurt, a quarterback getting hurt in this league is always very well could happen. It happened today, and so well over 11.5 snaps for Justin Fields.
I think it still would have went over if
I agree.
The way it was going, because he stayed in for 2 plays in a row. I'm like, don't just leave him in for 1 play. That's just dumb.
I agree.
So when he did stay in for 2 plays in a row, I'm like, okay. I said, but the play calling was way better. So kudos to Nagy for going after it and stop being a little punk.
But I will
like
say
he was
the
last
play
week.
calling was above average for Andy Dalton. I thought they had a good game plan for what Andy Dalton is. But
he was definitely protecting Justin Fields.
But then, when Justin Fields came in, it wasn't something they game planned for.
He was definitely protected. Right. It's something.
But it just wasn't something they game planned for. And I feel like.
But at least they took some shots, though.
They did.
So that's why I wasn't mad. I said this is a lot more run than we're used to with Nagy, right?
But here's the thing I will say. They got to roll him out of the pocket more. He was standing in the pocket a lot, and he holds on to the ball for a long time. If there was one criticism he could have of Justin Fields in this game is he's got to get the ball out of his hands. But one thing to help him with that is if you roll him out of the pocket and get those floods like you were seeing last year at the end of last year with Mitch, run some of those plays for him. I didn't see very many of that, and I was looking for it. You ground and pound with David Montgomery, you play off of that. And then one thing I will say with Justin Fields too is when they're running that read option and they're running that, and David Montgomery's running in, he's handing off, but Justin Fields has the option to keep it and pop to the outside. There was more than a few times I wish Fields had kept it and it seemed like he had a lot of space and opportunity. But now you have a full week to prep with Justin Fields, knowing he's going to be your starter more than likely next week. So I'm hoping to see, I'm not saying it wasn't a terrible game plan with Justin Fields because I'm not an expert when it comes to scheme. So I'm not going to overspeak here as just a fan in the stands. But I do think that they can put him in a better position for success heading into next week. I'm not saying Nagy did a terrible job. I'm just saying I think they can do better now that they know that Justin Fields is going to get the majority of the snaps.
It's 3 pass plays in particular when they didn't they weren't completed, but it still made you go, yeah, this Justin Fields kid is good. Like it was one crossing route that Darnell Mooney had coming over the side, and then it was just like inches away from just being like it was a pretty pass, but like Mooney couldn't quite pull it in, running across the it was a crossing route all the way across to the other sideline. But the pass looked good, and you just know things like that are gonna come with more practice reps. And then there was another pass to A-Rob in the end zone.
Right.
And well, actually it was 2 to A-Rob in the end zone. Like one, I thought it was a really good defensive play. Just jumped in front of it and like kind of hit it right before it could get to A-Rob. And then, of course, everybody, I know y'all talked about it already, the one that A-Rob dropped, it went right through, kind of looked like Javon Williams out there for a second when we played against the Saints. But it's like you just see the accuracy and you look at it and you just say, yeah, this kid's got it and he's going to, because what should have been caught was definitely the A-Rob. You got to catch that. And because that changed the whole complexity of the game right there. That could have took the win out the sails for Cincy right there. Oh, that place would have lit up.
Place lights on fire. There's no comeback for the Bengals, and then maybe we're not questioning as much of Matt Nagy's game plan with Justin Fields, and we would have all been much more happy with the outcome, without the Bengals having that comeback at the end. But hey, now they have something to build off of. They learned from a win. I'll take that over learning from a loss. But you're right. A couple missed opportunities timing-wise, and maybe we're singing a different tune as far as how Matt Nagy maneuvered Justin Fields throughout the game. So, that was the victory formation. Then, of course, Justin Fields walks off the field a winner for the first time at Soldier Field in front of the fans. There's Justin Fields walking off, and shout out to Justin Fields for pulling it back, the play action off the old man that was trying to grab the towel from Justin Fields and giving it to the kid instead. That's showing some good awareness by Justin Fields.
Who said, "Oh shit"? Was that you?
No, that wasn't me. That was somebody next to me. But Chubbs will probably joke in the chat that I would have bullied that kid for that for that towel. I might have. Sometimes I get excited. I can't help it. But I like
unacceptable. Give it to me.
Yeah, they were throwing gloves in the stands and everything else, but Justin Fields made sure the towel went to a kid. Yeah, and Chubbs thinks I always do everything for me. Nick, if you want to tell Chubbs the story of how you acquired that shirt, you're more than welcome to.
Yes, Chubbs. So Greg pretty much caught that shirt for me. They shot a shirt cannon up in the air, and Greg secured it and gave it to me. So it's not all about him.
Now, Nick, you notified me that this shirt was in the air coming towards us, and it was like right coming to us. Do you feel like I interfered with maybe you just coming down with the catch gracefully? Because now, once you called my name and you call me into action, then the lasers come out, and I'm batting that thing down. I'm grabbing it out of the seat. I'm whipping it out of the seat before the people behind us can get to it, and then I immediately gave it to you. But did you feel like that maybe I bullied the catch, or do you think maybe you would have just came down with the catch cleanly?
No, there were a couple of people in front of us who were trying to grab it too. So I feel like.
So you think my chaos helped the situation?
Yes, the chaos helped the situation. It would have been a rough 1v4 for me to secure it on my own.
All right. Hey, see, I'm a man of the people, Chubbs. I wanted Nick to have the best day he possibly could. Took him to the tailgate that we possibly could, best possible tailgate we could get to him. Hey, you're right. Only one senior citizen was hurt. When I was getting all these shots of them coming in the tunnel, I was kind of bullying an old man for getting in front of him to get the shot. I can't help it, but sometimes you got to do what you can for the shot.
Move, old man.
I know he doesn't have his phone out or anything, so you're basically a waste of space. Move out of my way so I can give the people what they want, so we can give some quality content here on Brags in the Stands. But I got to mind my P's and Q's now. I'm a known commodity. Nick knows we had people, walking up to me, I'm a celebrity. Me and Trey are celebrities now.
When we walked to the stadium, someone came up and told Greg he was a huge
fan of them. And the Collectives Cave guys, shout out to those guys. We had a great time with Mike and Aaron, who also came over to the tailgate. They were giving me so much shit because, somebody comes up and they recognize
Greg's ego anymore. Don't beat Greg's ego.
Yeah, hey, I got a big ego. I like to brag, and but I appreciate when fans come up to me and tell me how much they appreciate my work, and that only inspires me to want to do this more and do it as best I can for you. So, pump my ego, because then that gives you guys better content. So, I'll leave it at that.
Give it up for Brad.
Chubbs is right.
Yeah, that's right. Blow it up. Blow my head up some more. This is what we do here at Brags in the Stands. Somebody was like, hey, that last year somebody put on Twitter, like when I first started the show, they're like, yeah, why don't you just tell them all the cool celebrities you meet and all the great places you get to go? I go, that's actually exactly what the show is going to be. So get ready. But I will say this before we sign off, Fields walks off into the tunnel to the crowd cheering. But shout out to the fans that stuck around and also showed, and I know Chubbs is going to cringe at this, but also showed one Andy Dalton some love. Slight little Andy chant.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Andy Dalton won me over in that first quarter. Actually, his play was pretty good up until he got hurt. Like he had a nice run before. What he was good. I mean, have you seen our quarterbacks
Andy
before?
Dalton fluffing allowed on the show apparently.
Hey, he did what he was supposed to do. Did he do anything wrong? What did Andy Dalton do wrong?
What did he do right? I mean,
he existed, Trey. He existed.
Well, he got the touchdown with the only offensive touchdown that the Bears had, right?
That's right. So he helped us get the win. Now Justin Fields is the quarterback one, as we wanted, as I wore the shirt here today, and that's what we all got what we wanted. Chubbs wanted the win. I was very conflicted, but I picked the Bears to win, and so I ended up being correct on that. I'm 2-0 in my predictions for the Bears this year, and my picks that I entered to Kevin Caduck at the midway minute, and try to keep my
Greg,
above 500 record this year.
Week, Greg?
Well, got to tell me who the starting quarterback is first. Let the week play out. I'm not giving predictions out. That's the tease. Hey, when you're a professional in this business, Eric, you got to tease the people so they tune in later in the week to find out who Braggs is picking for Bears versus Browns in Cleveland. So we shall see what happens, but I'm not telling you now. And I also need to know who the quarterback is. So,
oh man, that's going to be
for
all
both
over.
teams.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, because Baker got hurt, but he came back in. But
Baker got hurt, came back in. I think Chubb said in the chat, Landry got hurt. Chubbs claims he's the professional, but hey, we'll see. Sometimes you get some things right. I'll give you that, Chubbs, but you're not always right. And I want to make sure.
Sarah Payne is hilarious on Twitter. I think she tweeted out something that said, Andy Dalton says he's okay on the sideline. And then it said Bears say that he's doubtful to return. I'm like, okay.
I'm telling you, the fans were a little brutal there, rooting for it when he got hurt, and then Fields runs out and he's like, yeah! Slow fuck down, guys. Like, just relax, okay? It happened. Just sit on your
come
hand.
on, Greg. You clap for Justin coming on as well.
Listen, no. You got hurt.
We didn't cheer when Dalton got injured, like some people in our section did.
Correct.
But we were pretty loud when Fields did take the field.
Every time Fields came running out there, you would hear a bit of an ovation. So
yes.
Feel that energy, how much Bears fans want to see Justin Fields out there. And the team, you can see how much they enjoy when he's out there. As we mentioned on the show tonight, the lifted energy across the board that you saw from everybody. So, that's all go ahead, Trey. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, what was the crowd's reaction when he threw the interception? Were they just like, "Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it"?
Well,
like,
that is what's funny about it. You're seeing a little bit of confliction on Twitter. Like people
we're good. We're good.
Let him develop more. A little bit of still conflicting arguments on Twitter, but I know that's what Twitter is for. With people saying, "Look, see, he still needs time on the bench to learn," but you can make the argument you only learn from those mistakes on the field, but. Aside from
he's never going to do anything wrong.
Kyler Murray threw 3 picks today. It happens, we built this guy up that he's going to save us. He's the Messiah, and we're certainly extremely hyped that we have Justin Fields, and he can do no wrong in most Bears fans' eyes. And I think we're going to learn that it's a little bit more of a process than that as it goes along. And I think most Bears fans will be able to accept that. Yeah, we had the one fan chanting, "We want Andy." back after the interception, but it was a little bit of humble pie because it was a very bad interception. You know, something we saw Mitch do last year against the Lions when he got pulled. But it's going to happen, and I had no issue with it. It would have been a knife through the heart had they lost because of those mistakes, but they didn't. They learned from a mistake in a win. And like I said, the silver lining of the whole game to me is, you know, while they did let him back in, and that sucks, we didn't get to just celebrate a beatdown victory of the Cincinnati Bengals. Right. Justin Fields got to be tested in only a way you'll ever learn right then and there, running for that first down to win the game. You're not going to get that. You're not going to learn from those moments that end up happening in the playoffs. That's how games are won and lost in the playoffs, 3-point games. And you only learn those in the regular season like this. So, you know, to me, that's what this was all about, the silver lining. Yeah, they let him back in the game, but then we got to see what Justin Fields' moxie was all about. And as we pointed out, he's ready in that moment. You see that confidence as he gets the first down. He's not worried about that he just threw a pick. You know, and as we saw as Trey alluded to, Mitch Trubisky, deer in the headlights, he'd be looking up at the scoreboard, frown face, whatever you want to say, demeanor. You can just kind of see it with Justin Fields. He doesn't let the great plays or the bad plays affect him. He's kind of got that same look at all times. You know, Derrick Rose-esque, honestly, if we want to connect him to someone in Chicago, that's how Derrick was in a lot of ways. And so, you know, Derrick made mistakes too, but, you know, at the end of the game, money on the table time, Derrick always came through, you know, and so that's what we're hoping Justin Fields can do for us. And he had one test, his first test of many, and he passed it here today. So we got the dub, and it felt good to see that, you know, and we don't. You're right, Shy Love, Shy Strong is stuck around for the whole show. You know, he was giving us crap because we were saying we and us, you know, acting like we're part of the team, but he's stuck around, and he's been feeling the love. He might be smoking a little reefer, but he's been feeling the love here. You know, he admitted to as much, so we don't know. But I appreciate everybody in the chat hanging out, and you know, the interaction was great today, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content. We'll continue to do this as the season progresses. We'll do post-game shows after every game, but then after every home game, you're going to get to see content like this because Braggs is almost always in the stands when the Bears are playing at Soldier Field. So I will be there week 4 when they play the Detroit Lions. I'll be hanging out with Ron Mazar. I got to make sure I get his last name right. I keep butchering Ron's last name, but you know, this guy, you know, I'm a fan of what I do, and I appreciate everybody. You know, I'm not trying to get a big head here, but you know, this guy, Ron, reaches out to me and asks me if I want to go to the game. Ron Malazzo, I was going to say, I thought there was an R snuck in there. Ron Malazzo, you know, asked me if I wanted to go to the game with him here week 4. So I will be with Ron. If you guys want to catch up with me, I'll be at the corner of Wabash and Cermak tailgating. Nick had a good time today with the Chicago Bears tailgating club. So if you want, come find me, DM me. It's a private lot, so you got to have the secret password. So make sure you send along a message, and I'll get you in the lot for sure.
You gotta have the secret password though.
Yeah, the secret password, absolutely. So let me know, and anyone is more than welcome, but you got to let me know first. But it was a lot of fun, and this is what the end of the day at the Chicago Bears tailgating club looked like.
Noise. It looks like a good time there.
This guy had a great time.
Sorry for partying.
Right.
Eric, I mean, honestly, this is you in 30 years right here.
No, that's a lot older than me.
I understand that. That's why I said it's you in 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
You can see into your future. I'm just messing. It's me too in 30 years, you know. It's also going to be me. So it applies for all of us. But I had to pick on you a little bit there. Shout out to Zach Miller. Me and Nick got a picture with Zach at the end of the game when everyone was leaving. Yeah, there's Zach hanging out. Tried to get him on the podcast, but I was just messing around with him.
No, you should have told him. Like, did you mention his music?
Yeah. So somebody asked him how his leg was doing, and he said fine. I'm sure he's sick of answering that question. And then I go, well, how's the music going? And he said, it's going great. I go, hey, keep up the good work. And I go, here's my obligatory request for you to come on my stupid podcast. And he gave a good chuckle and he walked away. So I don't know if we're going to get Zach on, but you never know.
No, you should have told him it was a country western.
I should have told him to come on the Trey Toon show, and then he might have came on. So
yeah, you are right about. No, I'm just playing. I ought to guess that had her because of you.
Yeah, the Trey Toon show. So, but me and Nick had a great time at Soldier Field on the lakefront. Nick got his first win. Look how happy he is. It was a great time, though. And shout out to the guys from the Collector's Cave, Mike and Aaron, and their good buddy Christopher Boyd, and all the gang. Took a nice picture before the game, and you can get all your Chicago sports memorabilia needs at www.thecollectorscave.com, and look out for public and future public and meet and greets and signings as Trey is peeking around the big graphic. Eric's not there. He is. I was going to say Eric's not playing along because he doesn't know which way to peek. And it's like it's a little bit like the Brady Bunch. There is. There you go. We'll take that picture. I'll take that screenshot for the Collector's Cave. I'm sure they'll love to use that one. But shout out to Mike and Aaron for hanging out. They got some hard talk from Timmy from the bus, who's always moving and shaking at the Chicago Bears tailgating club. So they got to meet the full Tim Shanley, the legend out there running things at the Chicago Bears tailgating club. And that's what I mean. If you want to come hang out with us, you got another secret password, so don't forget it. But that wraps things up for today. Very quickly, Eric, why don't you give your final thoughts, and then we'll cut you loose, and then we'll move down the line.
It's field season, baby.
He goes, nah.
Mid-season form, baby.
You know what? I give no final thoughts, huh, Eric? You're a man of few words.
That's it. No, it's field season.
Fields day, field season. That's right. Got the QB1 shirt rocking. My guy D'Lo Brown's got the Fields Day shirt rocking. He's probably wearing it right now somewhere out there. Our guy D'Lo Brown. Shout out D'Lo Brown. So, man, a few words. Great job today, Eric. Always moving and shaking it. I'll cut you loose. You're welcome to go back to your football. Thanks for all your insight and input today. You're a good friend. He was harassing me while I was prepping for this show. So he had to come on. I joke, just come on the show if you're going to call me 19 times while I'm prepping for this thing.
I'm glad I could contribute, Greg.
Yeah, why don't you go back to snaking us in our fantasy league? I'm coming for your ass. Don't you worry, buddy.
I gotta go. I gotta pick up my free agents here.
Yeah, go make some waiver. You and Jake, go make some waiver claims. All right.
Right.
All right. That is our guy Eric, and then there were three. Nick, Trey. Who wants to go? Who wants to be the next to go? I don't care. You guys flip a coin. Why are you making me? Trey, how about I go with you, Trey? Because me and Nick are at the game today. Me and you, Trey, are going to do many shows here in the future. So why don't you give your final thoughts? And hopefully they're a little more expanded than Eric's final thoughts because he was not fired up for it.
All right.
What
here
are
we go.
your final thoughts?
Field season. No. But just my final thoughts are, Bears put in a good effort to win, and we have a reason to be excited, especially with Justin Fields. Who knows who's going to start next week, but it's good to see him get out there, get some experience, get some of the jitters out, and all that, get all that on his belt, because I know that he's going to retain that information and move forward. So I'm excited. Let's see him. I'm more worried about Nagy. Is he going to be able to keep up the good play calling? I mean, that's what I'm more concerned about, because we didn't see any of those cute plays that he was trying to do last week. The wide receiver reverses and all that stuff. Just run the ball up the middle, stop all this cute stuff, and this is the results you'll get. Let's see what the defense can do. Let's get some communication in the when we play zone, not make those errors, and let's see what happens. I'm pretty excited.
All right. Hey, I'm excited as well, my friend, and we're going to be talking a lot more about it, I'm sure, on the Trey Toon Show, talking sports and playing hits weekdays 12 to 2, live only on Twitch. This guy does an incredible job as he peeks around the graphic. It's a great show, a lot of fun, and we just wing it. As I say, Trey just wings it, and then I come on and blow up the chat as he's got the who's the guy with 2 thumbs pointing at his graphic? This guy. But he does a great job, and he puts up with me and Will. Will was too cool to hang out here tonight, so, I'm not Sylvie, so he can't hang out with me, but that's all good. No hard feelings. But make sure you tune into the Trey Toon Show. Does a great job, and he allows me to banter on there as well. So, Trey, we'll catch up here soon. Do a crossover when the schedules line up, and look out for more content from me and my guy Trey. All right, I'll put you backstage here, and then there were 2. Nick. Final thoughts. How you feeling after your first Bears win in the stands?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the whole day, from the tailgating to the game and to now this post-game show. It was a great day hanging out with you, finally seeing that win in my third try in the stands. And I hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. We definitely will be doing it up again. You're a good friend now. We met in London, all the way across the pond. 2 Bears fans from across the globe. You're from Germany, coming over here, diehard Bears fan. Got some connections as a kid to Chicago, and that turned into your love for the Chicago Bears. So any day is a great day with a Bears win, especially when QB1 is at the helm. No offense to our guy, the injured quarterback Andy Dalton, but we all wanted our boy in there. He's in there now. We're getting Bears wins. Justin Fields is getting development. All things leading to positivity. Now we can finally get off the negative train that we've been on for the last few weeks, especially after that beatdown. Fields got the juice now. Absolutely Chicago-rilla. Feeling good. Lots of fun. I want to shout out everybody in the chat for hanging out here. Chubb says he's going to be in the Trey Toons chat one day. We'd love to see you over there because you'd fit right in, Chubbs, and you could help us hold Will's feet to the fire because it's certainly easier said than done. Trey Toons is just does a great job over there. So make sure you're tuning into his show. JDS, Chicago-rilla, Faye, our girl Faye, everybody that hung out all show long, and even the ones that started off that had the sign out to go watch some football. We understand. We did 4.5 hours of Brags in the Stands coverage over the last 2 days, shimmied in between. We started out our day at 5:30 in the morning, Nick and I, and then we got home at 5 in the afternoon here for Chicago Bears football. And then we were able to do a post-game show that, honestly, this is one of my favorite post-game shows that I've ever done with all the different content and everybody coming on. So I appreciate you, Eric, Trey, and of course you, Nick, for all you guys contributing. And we wanted to keep it to an hour, but my rambling ass, of course, brought it to 2 hours. So no surprise there, but I'm going to sign out here and let everybody get to their Sunday night football. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. It was a lot of fun, and thank you. And make sure you tune in as we're going to do more shows here in the coming weeks. We'll have fun guests, and we'll be doing more post-game shows, so just be on the lookout for those notifications. And with that being said, we're going to end this show with a great, the only way we're going to end a great show of Bears content on the Lakefront, and this is how you leave every single Bears game, and don't ever forget it. I'm Gregory Braggs Jr., and this is Brags in the Stands.
Green Bay sucks! 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 Let's go!